YouTube! What is up? Lucas here. Another video on the fantasy football perspective. Today, we are going to be doing a mock draft. This mock draft, however, is not going to be your normal PPR type thing. However, it is a PPR league, but this is going to be focused on a league that I'm specifically in, and that is a keeper league. Now, for those that don't know about keeper leagues, they kind of work as if you get to keep one player on your roster, sometimes two, from your previous year's roster. So it's kind of like a combination between Dynasty and just your standard draft. So last year, I had Derrick Henry in the first round, Austin Eckler in the second, Terry McLaurin in the fifth. I'm kind of leaning towards keeping Austin Eckler in the second. Let me explain why. On top of these keeper rules, we also have a rule in this league where whatever place you finished, you get to decide in that order of where you draft at in the next and upcoming draft. So since I finished second, I get second choice to where I draft at. That makes the decision a little tougher because if I did keep Derrick Henry, I could say I'm going to pick last. And that's not bad value, getting Derrick Henry at the 12th overall pick. I also can say I can draft first and keep Austin Eckler in the second round and get Austin Eckler at the either 101 or 102. That's good value as well. Or I can get Terry McLaurin at the end of the fifth round. All exceptional value. I'm leaning more towards Eckler in my mind. Let me know what you all think. It's definitely debatable. That's kind of where I'm leaning. But without further ado, we're going to get into this mock draft. Please drop a subscribe or a like if you haven't yet. It's free, helps the channel grow. Hit that intro. So let's dig into this keeper league mock draft. All right, since I got second, I'm assuming that the guy who got first is either going to pick 101 or 102. Last year it was the same guy he picked at the 104. That's where he picked from first. So I'm going to assume that the 101 is going to be open. So personally, I'm all right. Remember, if you think back to my tier list, I'm right with Christian McCaffrey or Alvin Kamara in this position. So if he takes the 101 and I take the 102, I'll be happy with either one. So we're assuming that I'm the 101 right now. And I also am keeping Austin Eckler in the end of the second round. I think the easiest decision of the draft is going ahead and smashing McCaffrey to start us off. I hope my screen where my head is not too awkward for this. I tried to put it in a place where you can see the whole screen. But yeah, let's dig in. So everyone off the board, let's go ahead and take a look at this draft board. Pretty good start. I got my two workhorse running backs, Christian McCaffrey, the volume monster at the 101, and Austin Eckler, who I think really does have potentially RB1 upside if everything falls into place at my 212. That's the perfect start. And this is kind of where I'm getting a little bit caught up and stuff because I do think there's a major tier drop after Travis, Darren Waller, and George Kittle. When we take a look back, we look at the suggestions. Really wants us to take Keenan Allen. I like Keenan Allen, but I already have a part of that Chargers offense. Do I want a running back and a receiver from the same team? DK Metcalf's there too. I like DK Metcalf's outlook. But the positional advantage George Kittle gets me and just a major drop-off after that, when I have these two running backs that can kind of carry my team, might be the way to go. In an ideal world, I kind of actually like Darren Waller over George Kittle in redraft leagues just because that target share's there. And the fact that the 49ers might be will be going to Trey Lance before, and we don't really know how much Trey Lance targets his tight ends. So we know the Darren Waller and the Derek Carr connection. It's good to go. Produced really high at a high level last year. We're just not sure about that George Kittle to Trey Lance. On the flip side, George Kittle is a beast. He does get hurt a lot, but I think it's a smash here. You start off with probably the best 1-2 running back punch in the league, and you get a top 3 tight end, that positional advantage on the weekly basis. I think it's a smash. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to draft George Kittle and kind of see where this goes. So everything's loading up. And just the pure receivers that kind of fall to you after that is kind of good stuff, honestly. So we're sitting here. Let's look at everyone's team. We got our 2 workhorse running backs. We got the tight end. This guy went receiver heavy after Dalvin Cook. High upside. I like this team 4 a lot too. He needs the wide RB number 2 to get going. A lot of solid teams so far. I love Brandon Ayuk this year. He was just exploding target monster by the end of the year. Without Kittle and Debo in the lineup, I like this team a lot. I love Team 12 a lot. Saquon's scary with this ACL. Joe Mixon left practice a couple days ago injured, but he came back. Team 7 has high potential, but a lot of injury risk with Saquon, Joe Mixon, and Julio even. Team 5 I like a lot. Ezekiel Elliott, prime candidate for bounce back of the year. Gibson should be a workhorse running back. CeeDee Lamb's just making people look stupid in practice. And Cooper Kupp just looks like that guy that's going to bond with Matthew Stafford so well. It just seems like Matthew Stafford's bro. I think that he's going to put up big numbers with Matthew Stafford. So those are the teams that I like the most so far. I also like Team 8. Jonathan Taylor's a little bit scary because he has quarterback hurt and his best lineman, so who knows. Hopkins should excel this year. I love Montgomery's outlook, especially without Cohen, and Mike Evans should be the touchdown threat that he always is. So this leaves me in a little predicament. Who's left? So I bring up this wide receivers. We have Deontay, Tyler Lockett, Galladay, Higgins, Juju, Odell. So it's getting a little bare. So you might need to go. This one gets tricky in my head. So I always take a look at the QBs. I always look at everything. Do we get 3 workhorse running backs? Or do we go Lamar Jackson and another receiver? I like Deontay Johnson a lot. He is kind of an outlier when it comes to how much production he got with his target volume. He was honestly one of the least efficient fantasy football seasons I've ever seen since I've started playing fantasy football. If I gave you his raw numbers of targets compared to production, you'd be like, this guy should have been a top 5 receiver. Does that production increase with the same target load? I think it does. I think it was an outlier season. He does have a bad case of the drops. It usually checks itself out after a while. So I think I'm going to go ahead and bet on the upside of Deontay Johnson as my wide receiver 1. And I'm going to try to get another positional advantage with Lamar Jackson. So now we're sitting at CMC, Austin Eckler, George Kittle, Lamar Jackson. I think I have 2 running backs that legit wouldn't surprise me if they were RB1s at the end of the year. I think I have Kittle, who has potential to be that tight end 2 for the year. I don't think anyone's going to overtake Kelsey. Situation's the same. He kills it every year. I got Deontay, who's going to get the targets and the volume, but is that volume going to translate to touchdowns? And then I have Lamar, who I think always has a chance to be QB1 as well. So now we're getting a little scary. I still like Tyler Boyd. I like Jerry Jeudy a lot. But then do we get another running back? I think I'm going to go Chase Edmonds here. His workload should be there. He's my RB3, so I'm not counting on him for major points. And then I think I'm going to go Tyler Boyd. If this was a dynasty league, I would definitely have went with Jerry Jeudy there. Since it's a year-long league, I think Tyler Boyd and Joe Burrow do have a pretty good connection from last year. I think that just continues. So then we're going to look at everyone else. This is when I start thinking about my next keeper. Okay. So with the keeper league, whatever round I draft my rookie in, or whatever player that is, I can keep them that same round next year. So I got back-to-back picks. So I'm going to go Corey Davis. He should be the one in New York Jets this year. And then I'm actually going to pick Javonte Williams. The reason that I'm taking Javonte Williams right here, he's not going to get the workload right off the bat. He's going to be that guy that probably picks up the volume in weeks 6 through 10. When that happens, he's going to shoot up the draft boards for next year. If Melvin Gordon's not there in Denver next year, I mean, you could see him being a potential top 2 picks, kind of similar to Antonio Gibson, Dobbins, first, second round pick. I can keep him in the 9th round. So that's just something to look forward to for the next year, kind of a future play. Those are the kind of things that you need to look at when you're drafting. Take a look back at the receivers. I like Elijah Moore a lot, but I honestly love Nelson Aguilar this year. He is the lone receiver in that offense, and he brings a deep threat that they did not have last year. He has a pretty good connection with Cam Newton in camp, so I'm going to go ahead and smash that. And then I have a pretty good receiver core. Obviously not going to be the best because I went RB heavy, but I think I have enough to get me 12 to 15 points and let these top 3 and my quarterback kind of carry my team. We'll glance back at the running backs here. This is when I'm probably going to take Tannehill just as a little backup quarterback in case Lamar gets hurt. I think that's smart. Lamar's a running quarterback, so he has a higher chance of getting hurt. Tannehill's very formidable. I have a couple picks to go. I'm going to get a backup tight end here just in case George Kittle gets hurt. I want someone with a little bit of upside. I don't like Troutman with Taysom Hill. I like Cole Kmet a little bit. He looks like he's coming on. Who knows who's going to be good between those two. I don't like Jarwin that much with the crowded tight end room. I can't remember off the top of my head who the other tight end is. I'm kind of digging Jared Cook. I think that's going to be a high-octane offense. I'm getting a reach alert in the bottom right. But high-octane offense, he's produced, and everywhere he goes, he's at least a decent tight end. Shouldn't be any change in that high-octane offense. This is when I usually take a shot on a rookie. And I'm probably going to go Bateman. The reason I'm going to go Bateman is because I have Lamar Jackson that gives me that stack. So if Bateman ends up being better than everyone expects, I got that stack. Hey, man, it's a good stack to get. And I got him in the 13th round. So if we're talking keepers, he produces at a high level. It's easy money. All right. Who has the better offense? I'm going to go Greg Zuerlein. And I love the Patriots defense. Everyone's back. Everyone's kind of sleeping on them. Who cares what this grade gives me? I like my team. B+. Fine. Pretty stacked team. Let's take a look at the board real quick. Who do I think is going to win this league? I like this little stack here. Dalvin Cook. That's a really good stack. Team 2 is really good. Team 5's good. Team 7's good if everyone stays healthy. Kyle Pitts, I'm not on the Kyle Pitts train for redraft leagues. The reason is, let's say he has the best rookie season out of any tight end in the last 10 years. I think the numbers will say that it still won't get him enough to be in the top 5 tight ends. So maybe in a keeper league, you can reach on him a little bit with the chance to get him at a better value next year. I think they're safer options right there. Team 9, I like Team 9. Michael Thomas is scary because he's missing 6 games. Team 10's good. How much workload will Darrell Henderson actually get? Team 11's stacked. I like Team 11 a lot. I'm kind of going to go this strategy when I draft from the 9th spot in my other league. I think taking 2 receivers and getting Dobbins and Carson as your RB1 and 2 with these high upside receivers is the way to go when you're drafting that late. And Team 12 killed it too. Najee and Aaron Jones, that's a perfect end. And you get Amari Cooper. I love Brandon Ayuk. Odell, if he's healthy, he always has that potential to boom. Robbie Anderson has the potential to boom. And Jalen Hurts, that's a heck of a draft, Team 12. So, yeah. Please drop a comment on what you would have done different in my situation. If you think I kept the wrong person, let me know what you would have done. Like I said at the beginning of my video, my options were Derrick Henry at the end of the first, Austin Eckler at the end of the second, or Terry McLaurin at the end of the 5th. Kind of my options. So please drop a like if you haven't. If you had any, and I mean any time during this video where you thought I benefited you with some of my insight on why I'm doing the things I'm doing, please drop a like. Helps me shoot up the boards, helps me get on the home page when you're searching fantasy football. Appreciate it. Channel's growing pretty quickly. Want it to keep growing. Hope you all have a nice day. Peace.